There's a quiet myth that's followed many of us into old age. The idea that taking care of yourself is somehow selfish, that resting is indulgent, that saying no is rude, that asking for help is weakness. For decades, we were praised for putting others first, for showing up even when we were exhausted, for giving even when our cup was bone dry, and we carried that with pride, didn't we? We wore self-sacrifice like a badge of honor, telling ourselves, this is what love looks like. But now the house is quieter, the phone rings less, the world doesn't need you the way it once did, and in the silence, something unfamiliar rises, a whisper from within, asking softly, what about me? This isn't selfishness, this is awareness. This is the dawning truth that maybe, just maybe, you deserve the same compassion you gave to others all those years. And that's where we begin. In Buddhism, compassion isn't something we only extend outward. It starts at home, with ourselves. It's not a bubble bath, or a vacation, or a scented candle, though those things have their place. True self-care is an act of remembering, I too am worthy of gentleness. It is the small, sacred decisions we make each day to treat ourselves not as a burden to manage, but as a being to care for. For so long we were taught that our value came from our usefulness. We measured our worth by what we did for others, how much we could carry, how many people we could hold together. But aging, for all its challenges, offers something that youth never could. Space, the space to stop rushing, the space to stop proving, the space to finally meet yourself without all the noise. And here is the quiet revolution. Now is not the time to disappear into silence. Now is the time to come home to yourself. Because the truth is, self-care is not a reward you earn after a lifetime of service. It is a practice, a spiritual responsibility. And in this season of life, it may be the most important one of all. So in this reflection, we'll gently explore what self-care really means through the eyes of Buddhist wisdom, not as luxury, but as liberation. We'll look at the mind, the body, the heart, and the space around us. We'll talk about breath, boundaries, and the beauty of doing less, but with presence, because you've given enough. Now it's time to receive. Let's begin. Part 1. Self-care of the mind. Learning to sit with ourselves gently. Of all the spaces we inhabit, none is as intimate or as restless as the space within our own minds. It is where memories live, where old regrets whisper, where worries about the future perch like anxious birds on the edge of our thoughts. And for many people, especially in the later stages of life, the mind becomes louder, not quieter. Not because there is more to fear, but because there is finally time to hear what's been waiting. That's the strange gift of aging. The outer world slows down just enough for the inner world to speak. But what happens when what it says isn't easy to hear? We remember the mistakes we thought we'd moved past. We replay conversations that ended in silence. We feel the ache of unfinished stories, relationships we couldn't mend, dreams we didn't chase. And in those long, quiet afternoons when no one is calling and nothing is demanding our attention, the mind becomes a mirror. And mirrors can be both illuminating and unkind, depending on how we've learned to look. But here's the gentle Buddhist truth. The mind does not need to be conquered. It needs to be befriended. We're not here to fight our thoughts. We're here to make peace with them. And that begins not by trying to think better thoughts, but by noticing the ones we already have, with compassion instead of criticism. There's a teaching in Buddhist tradition called right mindfulness, and it doesn't mean always being positive or never getting distracted. It means observing the mind without judgment, sitting beside our thoughts, the way a kind friend would sit beside someone in pain, without rushing to fix, without turning away. You don't need to silence your thoughts. You just need to stop believing every single one of them. An elderly man once came to a Zen teacher, weary and ashamed, and said, "My thoughts are wild. I cannot meditate. I cannot focus. I must be a failure." The teacher smiled softly and said, "Then meditate on that. Sit with your chaos. Let it speak, but do not follow it out the door." What a beautiful invitation. You see, the mind, like a child, often just wants to be heard. When we stop pushing it away, when we stop scolding it for being noisy or negative, it begins to settle, not because we forced it to, but because we met it with gentleness. That's self-care. It is sitting in a chair by the window, letting your mind wander, but catching it with kindness when it strays into fear. It is saying to yourself, "I see that thought. I hear you, but I don't have to go there today." It is writing down what hurts, not to fix it, but to release it. It is remembering that you are not your thoughts. You are the space in which those thoughts arise. And that space, that's where peace lives. That's where presence begins. So start small. 5 minutes a day. Sit, breathe, and listen to your own mind like you would listen to someone you love. Not with judgment, with presence, with patience. You've been everyone else's caretaker for so long. It's time to take care of the one voice you've been living with your whole life. Your own. Part 2. Self-care of the body. Listening with kindness, not judgment. There is a moment, sometimes small, sometimes sharp, when we realize our body is no longer what it once was. The knees that used to carry us up flights of stairs now ask for permission. The back tightens after a simple reach. The skin begins to whisper stories in fine lines and silver strands. And for many, this change is met not with reverence, but with resistance. We criticize, we grieve, we joke about falling apart. But beneath the humor, there is often quiet sadness, a sense that something has been lost. And in that sorrow, the body becomes a battleground rather than a companion. But Buddhism invites us to see differently. The body is not failing you, it's speaking to you. And the question becomes, are you willing to listen? The Buddha once said, "This body is not mine. I do not possess it. It is a vessel, a vehicle through which life flows." This teaching isn't meant to make us feel detached or cold. It's a reminder that our body is part of nature, just as the leaves fall in autumn and the rivers slow in winter. To resist the body's changing is to resist nature itself, and that resistance is what creates suffering. So what does self-care of the body look like, especially now? It's not about trying to return to who you were at 40. It's about caring for who you are at 70. It's about learning to touch your own skin with tenderness, not disappointment. To treat your aching joints like old friends who have walked a long road with you, not enemies that betrayed you. Consider this: would you speak to a beloved grandchild the way you speak to your body? Why are you so slow? Why are you sagging? Why can't you keep up? Of course not. You would say, "Thank you for being here. Take your time. You're doing your best." And that is the voice your body is longing to hear. Your own, spoken with kindness. One elderly nun in a mountain monastery was known for her unwavering calm, even as arthritis slowly curved her spine and took her mobility. When asked how she stayed so serene, she smiled and said, "I no longer ask my body to serve me. I ask how I might serve it." That's a powerful shift. So how do we practice this? Maybe it begins with movement, not exercise as punishment, but as gratitude. A gentle walk, a few slow stretches, not because you should, but because your body deserves to be honored for all it has carried. Maybe it's nourishing yourself with food that is warm, colorful, and healing. Not because a doctor said so, but because you are worth feeding well. Maybe it's rest, true rest, without guilt. Letting yourself nap in the sunlight, without calling it laziness, letting the body recover, soften, breathe. And maybe it's finally listening to what the body has been trying to say all these years. Please, don't rush me. Please, don't shame me. Please, see me. Because this body, yes, this one, with its wrinkles and scars and slowness, is still sacred. It still holds breath. It still feels warmth. It still reaches for beauty. And as long as it draws life, it is worthy of love. So the next time your body aches, pause, place a gentle hand on your chest, close your eyes, and say, softly, I'm still here with you. That is self-care. That is compassion in action. That is a spiritual practice, one we can carry into every single day. We are blessed to inhabit this living, breathing temple of skin and bone. Part 3. Emotional self-care, releasing what we've carried too long. If the body holds our story in the way it moves and aches, then the heart holds what the story meant to us. And over the years, without even realizing it, we carry so much more than we ever meant to. Not just memories, but the weight of old disappointments, the bruises of unspoken grief, the scars of things we never got to say or fix or undo. Some people call this emotional baggage, but from a Buddhist perspective, it's more like emotional residue, what's left behind when experience has passed, but understanding hasn't yet arrived. So many older adults live with a quiet heaviness. Maybe you feel it too. The way certain names still sting. The way a song or a photograph can open a wound you thought had long since healed. The way even now, decades later, you sometimes find yourself asking, why did they treat me that way? Why didn't they stay? What did I do wrong? But here is something Buddhism offers that is both comforting and challenging. Suffering does not stay alive because of what happened. It stays alive because we keep feeding it. And this is not a blame, it's an invitation. We feed our pain every time we replay the scene, every time we rehearse the same story without ever turning the page. We keep the wound open, not because we want to suffer, but because we think letting go would mean it didn't matter. That if we forgive, we're excusing. That if we move on, we're erasing. But none of that is true. In Buddhist practice, we learn to hold our emotions like we would hold a crying child, not with scolding, not with shame, but with patience and love. We do not say, stop crying. We say, I'm here, I see you, I will not run from you. Emotional self-care is about finally turning toward what we've been avoiding, not to drown in it, but to set it down. There's a story of a woman who came to the Buddha carrying the ashes of her son. She was shattered with grief and begged the Buddha to bring her child back. The Buddha told her he would help, but only if she could find a single household in the village that had never known loss. She went door to door, and at each home she heard stories of death, of heartbreak, of missing someone who once lit up the room. And she returned to the Buddha, not with answers, but with something deeper, the realization that pain is part of the human condition, but suffering is optional. So how do we practice emotional self-care, especially after 60? We begin by naming what we've been too polite or too afraid to name. We say, I still miss her. I never felt good enough. That broke me more than I admitted. And then we breathe. Because once it's spoken, it starts to lose its grip. Emotional self-care is also about boundaries, not walls, but wise fences. It's the ability to say, I love you, but I need space. It's knowing when to step back. It's choosing peace over pleasing. And finally, emotional self-care is about allowing joy again. Because sometimes we've been hurt for so long that we start to believe we don't deserve joy. We flinch when something good happens, waiting for the other shoe to drop. But Buddhist wisdom reminds us that joy is not a reward. It is a birthright. It is a state that arises when the heart is open, even if it's been broken. So let your joy be simple. A flower blooming near the porch, the taste of warm tea, a letter from an old friend, a memory that makes you laugh out loud, all by yourself. These are the moments that water the heart and teach it how to feel again, gently, bravely, fully. And when the tears come, as they sometimes will, let them fall. That too is self-care. That too is a letting go, because in the end, the only thing heavier than grief is holding it in. Part 4. Creating sacred space. Let your surroundings nurture you. We often think of self-care as something we do. Breathing exercises, journaling, eating well. But one of the most overlooked forms of care, especially in later life, is the space we live within. The rooms we occupy, the corners we retreat to, the light we let in, the objects we keep close. These things may seem simple, even unimportant, but they quietly shape the way we think, feel, and rest. In Buddhist monasteries, great attention is given to the environment, the arrangement of a tea set, the raked lines in a sand garden, the hush of a single bell, not for decoration, but for intention. Every object has a place. Every space invites presence. This is not about perfection, it's about harmony. And that harmony begins with knowing what you need from your space. As we grow older, our homes often become quieter. What was once filled with family, noise, and motion may now echo with stillness. And that stillness can either feel lonely or peaceful. It depends in part on how the space is tended. So ask yourself, is your home nourishing your spirit or draining it? Is there a chair where you can sit and breathe without being interrupted? Is there a corner of a room that brings you comfort, not clutter? Do the things around you reflect who you've become, not just who you used to be? Creating sacred space doesn't mean renovating your house. It can begin with a single chair near a window, a small altar with photos, candles, or cherished objects, a drawer that is always clean, even if the rest is not, a soft blanket folded with care, a plant you water each morning while whispering words of hope. These are not luxuries, these are invitations. They whisper, "You belong here." One elderly woman I once met had lost her husband and lived alone in a modest apartment. She told me, the first few years were unbearable. It felt like the walls remembered him more than I did. But slowly, she began to shift the space. She painted the walls a soft cream. She placed a small table by the window with a lamp and her favorite book. Every morning she made herself tea and sat there, not to do anything, but simply to be. That corner, she said, saved her life. Buddhist tradition honors the idea of the inner temple, but that temple is not only within, it can be mirrored in our homes, the way we treat our environments as extensions of our hearts. So if there is a room in your home that fills you with tension, gently begin to clear it, not all at once, one drawer at a time. If there are photos that bring you pain, allow yourself to put them away. You are not erasing love, only protecting your peace. Fill your space with objects that carry memory, warmth, and softness. Make your bed in a way that welcomes you back. Let light touch the surfaces in the morning. Play music that makes you hum without realizing. Burn incense or use essential oils if the scent feels good to your soul. Let your home become not just where you sleep, but where you return to yourself. This is how we transform a house into a healing space. This is how we practice self-care without needing to do anything. This is how we remember we are not separate from our surroundings. And when we care for our space, we are in truth caring for our spirit. Part 5. The gift of solitude. When being alone becomes sacred, there's a difference between being alone and being lonely. But for many people after 60, especially those who have lost loved ones or grown distant from busy families, that line can begin to blur. The phone calls come less often. The house grows quieter with each passing season. At first it may feel like absence, a fading from the world you once gave so much to. But what if that quiet is not emptiness, but invitation? In Buddhist thought, solitude is not a punishment, it is a sacred space, a silence that allows the soul to stretch, a clearing where we meet ourselves without distraction, without performance, without the noise of needing to be enough for anyone else. Solitude is where the noise of the world fades and the voice of your own heart becomes audible again. But for many, especially those raised to believe that worth comes from usefulness or constant presence, solitude can feel uncomfortable. It can stir old feelings of being forgotten, of not mattering, of time slipping through the fingers. And yet, it is often in these moments, when the outer world pauses, that we are finally able to listen inward. In Zen monasteries, practitioners seek out solitude not to escape life, but to sink deeper into it. They sit with their breath, with their thoughts, with their questions, and what they find is not loneliness, but clarity. So what if this time in your life, with fewer obligations, less chatter, and more open space, is not an ending, but a beginning? What if it's the long-awaited return to yourself? An elderly monk once said, "When no one is watching, that is when the soul dances." That is the invitation of solitude, not to suffer in silence, but to rediscover what has been waiting in the stillness. In this space, you don't need to please. You don't need to explain. You don't need to perform any role. You can simply sit, breathe, feel, and be. There's a deep freedom in that. But solitude is not just sitting alone, it's how you tend to it. It becomes a form of self-care when you welcome it, rather than fill it with distractions. When you walk without a destination. When you read slowly, just for the joy of the words. When you drink your tea with both hands. When you write letters you may never send. When you pray, not to ask, but to listen. And when sadness comes, as it sometimes will, let it sit beside you, not as an enemy, but as a visitor passing through. Because the more we resist solitude, the more it becomes loneliness. But the more we accept it, the more it becomes sanctuary. Think of solitude like a garden. At first it may look bare, but with care, attention, and gentleness, it begins to grow beauty that others never see. The kind that blooms not in crowds but in quiet. So the next time you feel the stillness of your home, the hush of your afternoons, the long stretch of time with no one else in the room, take a breath. Place your hand over your heart and say to yourself, "This is not the absence of love, this is the presence of me." Because solitude, when embraced, becomes sacred. It is the doorway to inner peace. And in this season of life, it may just be the greatest gift you've been given. Part 6. The Daily Ritual. Small acts that heal the spirit. In the end, it's rarely the grand gestures that sustain us. Not the once-in-a-lifetime events. Not the dramatic declarations. Not even the vacations we waited years to take. What truly heals us, especially in the quieter seasons of life, are the things we do again and again, without fanfare. The small, intentional moments that remind us we are here, we are still breathing, we still matter. In Buddhism, these small, consistent acts are seen as rituals, not because they are religious in nature, but because they are sacred in intention. And when done with mindfulness, they become anchors for the soul. Think of how the monks begin each day, not with haste, but with simplicity. They sweep the floor, they prepare tea, they bow to the sun. Each motion, though ordinary, is done with full presence. No act is beneath them, no task is rushed through, and in that way, Life becomes ceremony. Now, you may not live in a monastery, but your life can still carry this sacred rhythm. Perhaps it begins in the morning, before the world begins to pull at you. You light a candle, you whisper a prayer, you place your feet on the ground and say, "Thank you, I am here." That alone is enough to set a tone of gentleness for the day. Or perhaps it's how you wash the dishes, not as a chore, but as a meditation. Feeling the warmth of the water, the smoothness of the plate, the way your breath slows as your hands move. Maybe it's the way you fold a towel, or open a window, or water the same plant each morning with the kind of care you wish someone had once shown you. These may seem like small, insignificant things, but the truth is, rituals are how we return to ourselves. They are how we soften the edges of our days, how we remind the mind and body that it is safe to slow down. There's a story of an old temple keeper in Japan who was asked why he swept the same path every single morning when the wind would only scatter the leaves again by afternoon. He smiled and said, "I sweep not to keep the path clean, but to keep my heart clear." That is the power of ritual. So what could your ritual be? What simple thing could you do today, tomorrow, and the day after? Not because it's productive, but because it brings peace. Maybe it's a cup of tea at the same time each day, sipped in silence. Maybe it's 10 slow breaths before each meal. Maybe it's listening to the same piece of music before bed, one that feels like a lullaby for the soul. Maybe it's writing down one moment of gratitude in a notebook, just one. Maybe it's walking to the mailbox and saying a kind word to the sky. Yes, even the sky can be a companion. The point isn't to impress anyone. The point is to return to presence, to remind yourself again and again that even in the smallest things you are worthy of care. So let your life be stitched together with these small golden threads. Let your rituals be quiet prayers of dignity. Let them say what words cannot. I am still here. I am still whole. I am still sacred. Closing thoughts, coming home to yourself. And so here we are. After all the noise has faded, after the years have passed, after caring for everyone else, standing quietly at the threshold of something most unexpected, yet deeply beautiful, the chance to finally care for yourself. Not in a way that is selfish, not in a way that takes away from others, but in a way that honors what's been overlooked for far too long. Because, here's the truth, self-care is not about spa days or scented candles, though those can be lovely. Self-care, in its truest form, is compassion in action. It is the radical, brave, and sacred choice to say, I matter too, after a lifetime of tending to others. Children, partners, careers, communities. This is the season to turn gently inward and ask, what does my soul need now? Maybe it's silence. Maybe it's softness. Maybe it's permission to feel all that's been held back. Maybe it's simply the courage to begin again, with patience and grace. If you've ever felt like you were too late to start, let this be your reminder. It is never too late to come home to yourself. You are not behind. You are ripening. From body care to emotional healing, from sacred spaces to solitude, from the tiny daily rituals that ground you in the present to the brave work of releasing old pain. Every part of this journey is a step back toward your center. And in this season of life, that center is not empty. It is luminous, not fragile, but wise, not broken, but beautifully tender. The Buddha taught that with mindfulness we can bring light to even the darkest corners of our suffering. And what is self-care, if not the daily choice to light a candle in the places we once left in shadow? So, dear one, if this message spoke to something inside you, if it reminded you of a truth you once knew but forgot, or if it simply gave you permission to breathe deeper today than you did yesterday, then please, stay with us, share your story in the comments. Someone else may need to hear exactly what you've lived through. And if this path of gentle wisdom, grounded in Buddhist truth and spoken with compassion, feels like home to your heart, I invite you to subscribe to this channel. We walk this journey together. Remember, self-care is not indulgence. It is not weakness. It is not optional. It is a quiet revolution of the soul. And in these precious years, these sacred chapters of deepening, reflection, and grace, it may just be the most important thing you ever choose. You are not fading. You are blooming in slow, quiet light. Welcome home.